We've been speaking about beliefs this week. Beliefs are one of the most important influences in your life. Your beliefs determine how you view yourself, how you respond to yourself. It determines how you allow people to relate to you, how you allow people to talk to you, how you allow people to behave around you. Your beliefs determine the opportunities you will seek, the opportunities you will allow into your life. Your beliefs even they control the kind of goals you set, how consistently you pursue those goals. The nature of experience you have had in your life over the last 10 years, one of the most important powers that is shaping that experience is your beliefs. Now, the unfortunate fact is that most of our beliefs are not our choices. John Maxwell says that most people don't create their life, they accept their life. And I think it's also true in the area of beliefs, that most people don't create their beliefs, they accept the beliefs. People deliver their beliefs, they deliver their own preconceived notions to us, and we accept them and make them beliefs. If I could go back in my own life and just list the number of things that I ended up believing because of people, I would need probably a whole day. Something that was different about me is that I was born a fairly big boy. At birth, those of you who have heard my story, at birth, I was 10 pounds approximately, 4.5 kilograms. That is at the time I was born. But as when I was born, I was proportionate, a proportionate baby. But as I started growing, my head grew faster than the rest of the body. And so I was taunted. I can't count how many times I was taunted to the point where I had a nickname in childhood that related to the fact that I had a slightly bigger head than the rest of my body. This should be one of the last things that I would have to worry about, but it was implanted in me when I was vulnerable and therefore became a belief that I had to overcome later. So most of the beliefs that are in your life, you did not create them. You received them. People delivered their luggage, their baggage, and you used it to construct a narrative about your life, which if we sat down and you wrote the most powerful beliefs in your life and started dissecting them, we will realize that they are based on chaff. They have no foundation under them except other people's opinions. So I wanted us to start off by laying a framework. This morning, we are dealing with three letters. Three letters, T, S, and P. T, S, and P. All your beliefs can be traced back to T, S, and P. T is thoughts. Thoughts. Unfortunately, we get to a point where we believe all our thoughts. And yet, our brain is one of the biggest liars. The purpose of our brain is not to keep us healthy and happy. Our brain is here purely to keep us safe. How does it keep us safe? It wants to explain anything. If you live in Kenya, there was a significant event that happened really, really recently, and suddenly everybody is a security investigator, security expert. They know the details and they have an explanation for everything because that's how our brains work. The brain wants to explain everything. Now, unfortunately, the brain only gives you answers to the questions you ask. If you ask your brain, why am I so stupid? It will give you an answer. The brain never says, oh, I don't know. The brain always has an answer. Why am I so unable to make good presentations? It's because you speak slow. And yet, if you go to the internet, you'll find some really famous speakers who speak slow. But the brain finds something. The brain will find evidence in your life to explain. And how does it explain? Through thoughts. Anytime you just believe all the thoughts that come to you, you are a slave of your brain, whose purpose is just to explain. Whether the explanation makes sense or it doesn't make sense, if you believe it, it becomes the code, the lines of code you need to create a new belief. And you create a software based on lies that your brain has given you, just because the brain needs to explain everything. Why did, it's just take any example, just ask yourself any random question. The brain will come up with an answer. It wants to explain anything. Your thoughts are the primary source of some of the beliefs, or at least the primary way through which you reinforce the belief that you already have. That is the T. The S is situations. Situations happen in our life, but we walk away with the emotions related to the situations acting as if those situations are permanent. They are situations because they are temporary. I've said during these coaching sessions that situations are temporary, relationships are permanent. Your relationship with yourself is permanent. If you allow a temporary situation that happened in 1997 or 2007 or 2017 to still be present in your life, to still be impacting you today, you have made that situation permanent. And you have included it as a permanent feature of your belief system, of your personal concept of who you are and what your life means. When we allow situations to create meaning that lives beyond the situation, particularly when the meaning is painful or dark or negative or limiting, we have become a slave of that situation. Our relationship with ourselves is permanent. Our power lies in beginning to diffuse those situations, especially that have passed, and begin to redefine them, asking the question, what truly happened? Or that's when they said X, Y, and Z. When they said that I couldn't perform, they meant that I am incapable. Is that true? Because they said it from their own perspective, their own lenses, which are contaminated by their own limiting beliefs. How dare I step into their shoes and try to explain my life through their eyes? They have no idea who I am. They don't know even a tenth. They don't know a fifth of who I am. And yet, here I am submitting myself to the situation that involved them and allowing this situation to define me. T is thoughts, when we believe thoughts automatically. S is situations, when we allow temporary situations to impair our permanent relationship with ourselves. And P is people, of course. People. When it comes specifically to people, I want us to go back to something that we spoke about during the Momentum Challenge. And this is what is called separation of tasks. Separation of tasks. There are three categories of tasks. There are my tasks, there are your tasks, and there are God's tasks. My tasks, your tasks, God's tasks. What I do, what I think, what I feel, what I choose, what actions I gravitate towards, that's my business. What you think about me is your business. How dare I try to interfere with your business? You don't pay me enough to figure out what you are thinking about me. That is your business. How you view me, that is your business. I have a role to present myself in the best light I can, but not so that I can please you, but so that I can express myself authentically. That is my responsibility. Because I don't know what your standards are. I don't know who blessed you or who hurt you, such that no matter what I do, I would never be able to please you or fulfill your expectations. What you think is your business. So every single time we are worried that people are judging us, we are in other people's business. We are trying to control them. If you have raised a baby or interacted closely with a baby, especially a terrible two, who wants to hoard all his or her toys, you know how hard it is to control the baby. Now you are trying to control an adult. I am trying to control an adult, and not just one. Thousands of adults around me. I'm like, what are they thinking? I'm trying to spend my energy to kind of magically figure out what they're thinking, and maybe perhaps I might be able to influence them. It is insanity. And this is where it truly, truly rings true that if we continue doing things the same way, expecting different results, that is madness. We will never be able to control what other people think. And anyway, it's none of our business, because there are my tasks, there are your tasks, and then there are God's tasks. What happened recently in Kenya goes beyond my hands and goes beyond your hands. There's nothing I can do about it. And as far as I can tell, there's probably nothing you can do about it. That is God's task. If there is an earthquake, that's God's task. If there is flooding like it is in Nairobi, yes, we have to hold those who are accountable and responsible to do what needs to be done to prevent this from happening. But at the time that it has happened, if I start fighting you, I am entering into your business and pulling you into my business. God's tasks. Leave alone God's tasks, at least for this season. Leave alone God's tasks. Leave alone my tasks. Take care of your tasks. I am willing to leave your tasks alone. These are the three realms from which our limiting thoughts arise from. Our thoughts, when we believe them automatically, even if we know that our brain lies most of the time. By lying, what I mean is the brain will project things and they look true. So for example, right now, you are at home, but you're projecting that you will get to the office. It is an illusion until it happens. Because you haven't gone to the office, you are expecting somebody to call you, and your brain can already see that person calling you. It's an illusion until it happens. But when it comes to creating thoughts and beliefs about ourselves, when we believe them, and we believe the brain automatically, we are believing illusions. They are not true. And the brain is the number one trickster in the world. Number one trickster. That's why magicians get us. Because they know that the brain is a trickster. They don't need to worry about you. They just need to give the brain an expectation, create a pattern. That's why comedians make us laugh. They create a pattern of 3. By the third one, they change direction, we laugh. That's because our brain has already started going in a direction. It just needs to change direction and we end up laughing. The brain is the number one trickster. Thoughts, situations, which are mostly temporary, but sometimes we carry the impact of those situations with us for a long, long time. Number 3, people. And this is where the separation of tasks come in. My responsibility and your responsibility is to take care of the first person tasks, my tasks, your tasks, and leave out the second person's task and leave out God's tasks. If we can focus on our tasks, define what my tasks are, define what my role are in those tasks, shift my focus away from God's tasks and away from other people's tasks, and set boundaries such that if I need to say no, if I need to limit my involvement in any environment, then I know that I'm doing it because I am prioritizing my tasks. This is what I wanted us to have as a foundation. Hopefully this helps you take another step on the work that we had already started doing. And now we will proceed with having a short mini hot seat. I had requested for a volunteer. I did not see any. That's why I didn't send out any assignment. I will find somebody from the list. Is anybody willing to volunteer before I pick someone? And somebody needs to mute their microphone. Any volunteer? At the count of 3, 2, 1, and now I have the power given to me by no one to go ahead and appoint a volunteer. Gladys. And that's because of your reflection. Gladys, because of your reflection in the group, let's go with you. What belief were you working with?
I must work too hard. Good morning, tribe. Good evening, Doc.
Okay.
My belief was I must work too hard. I must work hard.
Okay, all right. So I wanted to take it's important to take this belief home. So this belief is at a bus station. We need to take it home. Somebody sent it to the bus station. We need to figure out who. Why is it important for you to work hard? Or if you don't work hard, what would happen?
I would let my father down. I think the legacy which we were brought up in is you must work hard or sleep hungry. It was actually ingrained in us that you must physically work hard. So
TSP. So what is the origin? TSP.
People.
It's people
and the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the thoughts.
Yes.
So each of these universal thoughts, universal beliefs, limiting beliefs, the criteria was to find beliefs that cut across all the 3 pillars, which means this belief is seated stable. It's supported by all the 3 pillars, supported by your thoughts, supported by situations, supported by people. And sometimes it's people. Is your father alive?
No, he's late.
So that's now let's talk about that. You have no room to go back and negotiate this contract with him.
None at all.
It's fixed, right? You have no room. You maybe you, for example, I mean, in this would probably be the ideal example to look at it, where the at the time the person was present and this person feels permanent. The relationship is permanent, but the situation when you had him was actually temporary. We don't like to think like that, but it's the truth. I am here, I'm impermanent. You are impermanent. We are temporary here. But the consequences of that belief, because whether you like it or not, some elements of these beliefs might have leaked. I'm not saying they have leaked, might have leaked downstream. Is it possible?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, this is why, for example, when you see the KCP exam come out and then you go online and there's a parent saying, I'm so sad, my daughter only got 394, not 400, right? That's because that belief is not just anchored on one pillar, it's anchored on several pillars. So now we have found who sent that belief to the bus station. That belief was sent there by people, by situations, and by thoughts. Among these three, which are your tasks? Which of those pillars is your task, your primary task?
Was to select my thoughts, because he didn't just say work hard.
Yeah,
He also said use your brain. So the fact that I selected to pick the one that,
yeah,
yeah, so it was my task to select the one that works for me, which was to use my brain.
yeah.
He actually used to describe it, a human being is the matter between your ears and above your chin. So I didn't choose to, and say it in the mother tongue was really good, but
I want to hear it in mother tongue. I want to hear it. I want to hear it in mother tongue.
mahaha.
Oh, I'm
So I
laughing.
told
I'm laughing because I can hear my dad. I'm because I can hear him in the background asking in vernacular whether when you've done something, whether your head is empty. It's,
that is, so my task was to select
yeah,
right thing. And he may be late, but he was one of those gentlemen ahead of his time. So he left a memoir. So when I look back on them,
mm,
very,
wow,
very that he
yeah,
meant use your head to work
mm,
hard, but I
yeah,
chose the working hard. So my task was to be very intentional about what is it that he said, to understand, so that my situations is not judged by just the physical work. Yeah, so yeah,
yeah.
that's
Hmm. If you failed, if you failed and you let him down, what would it make you feel?
I would feel like I've dropped the legacy chain. He was big on legacy, what should be carried forward from one generation to the other. So I would feel like I have dropped the legacy chain, and therefore I will not be counted among the. You see, on the lineage of Jesus, there were people on the lineage who
Yeah.
were dropped because they didn't align to God's vision. So I would feel like I've dropped the legacy chain that he left behind.
So let's break that down. So the two layers I wanted us to point out, and hopefully once we have all these pieces up to this point, I think you can evaluate any belief and actually come to its roots. The end point of every limiting belief is judgment. And it's judgment that has emotional consequences. That is the end point of every limiting belief. When I worry that people are judging me, I am essentially judging myself. But that is the one belief that shows up in almost all the other beliefs. If you think you have failed, right? If you think you've failed, first of all, you need judgment to think that you have failed, right? And at the time you think that you have failed, then you judge yourself as unsuitable to be included in the genealogy or legacy. Nobody is telling you these things, right? They are coming to you because you each of us, we just need to show up at the AG's office for inauguration. Otherwise, we are all judges and we have experience. We are amazing, and we are most brutal with judging the person whose secrets we know. You are in the bathroom, you're looking at the brush, you are like, I could use a better brush than this. You look at the mirror, you're like, how come I haven't cleaned this mirror? Everywhere you look, you have evidence for this person, right? That you continue judging. So the two layers, every belief, every limiting belief ends at 2 points: judgment and the negative emotions associated with it. The judgment reinforces the T component. It becomes a loop because the brain is explaining. Once you judge yourself, you are asking your brain, for example, in this case, Gladys, you are asking your brain, how come I have not measured up? If that's the question you ask the brain, it will explain it, and it will find evidence to explain it. It will give you, it can, if you want it to give you the point and subpoints with one paragraph explanation of each, it will give you exactly what you want. Because the question you've asked is, how come I haven't measured up? Right? How come I haven't measured up? Sometimes you're just seated somewhere and somebody passes by, they don't say hi to you. Your brain asks, why did they not say hi to me? If you ask that question, the brain is going to find answers. You have no idea what's going on in their head. But the judge is on the throne and the court is in session. The brain will give you answers, will give you explanation. Every limiting belief. The reason why we get stuck as a result of a limiting belief is because it ends up at those 2 points. It creates a loop that messes up with our mind, such that we can no longer think independently of this belief, but also because it ends up with emotional consequences. Once emotions are attached, our safety is impaired. We perceive that we will be unsafe. You perceive that you will be unsafe if you fail, and yet, first of all, the definition of failure is arbitrary. Number 2, it is not present, it's in the future. It's not something tangible. In other words, it's something that the brain is making up, right? So let's use the 3 tasks category to see where this falls in. It sounds like God is not directly involved in this case, right? So it's just Gladys and Gladys' father, right? What are his tasks that you need to let go of? Your father's tasks that you need to let go of.
I need to let go of the fact that whatever I do will make him happy or will keep his legacy. His legacy is his, not mine. I have mine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can you speak as good Kikuyu as he used to speak back in the days? Can you walk on foot to the places he walked on foot during those days? Right? Can you do the things he did without social media, without the ease of transport that we have right now? Yeah, so that was probably one of the hardest things for me to come to terms with. My father's legacy is my father's legacy. My legacy will be very different. Which, if I don't set myself free from his legacy, my children are going to suffer the same consequences, where I am going to push them. I'm going to push them, trying to make them little me, right? And if I can do this with people that are that close, somebody that matters to you that much, if you can do this with your father, it can become very easy for you to separate your tasks from your friends, even the closest friends. Because if we can't, the hardest to touch usually is the closest. We grow up looking at our fathers as heroes, like they can never do any wrong. 100%, they can never do any wrong. We need it as children for psychological safety, because then we know that if things go unsafe, my father will come and kick your face, right?
Absolutely.
We need it. But as we grow, then those lines need kind of be redefined to realize that we are human, they are human, and therefore the consequences of their words has to get to a point where we can redefine that relationship. And if we can't do it and do it effectively in the intimate relationships, it means we are open to be influenced the same way by any of the three pillars, the T, S, and P. Our brain becomes another person, almost like a voice that is running continually. The people around us continue to impact us essentially the same way. And of course, situations, especially situations that are temporary. What is your so the belief is not that you have to work hard. That's a smoke screen, right? The belief is that you will let him down, right? And
Yeah.
we now have some clarity that this belief doesn't stand on its own. It has all the pillars. And so your work now, I think, where to start from is to see which of the cords you can cut, which of the tasks you can truly redefine and release. You're going to be, Sylvia, I should share with you the delegation document. You are going to delegate. There are some tasks you need to delegate to your father so that he can take care of them. You can't make him happy. You can't even make him proud. He can choose to be proud, but you cannot make him proud. And as long as it's on my shoulders trying to make somebody else proud, that is impossible. I am trying to fulfill their tasks. I think that's where I would start from for you, realizing that most of the beliefs, eventually when I show you the entire list of 60, you will realize that all of those beliefs lead to two things: judgment and emotions. Judgment creating a loop, mental loop that keeps us stuck, and emotions that have physical consequences on our bodies. That brings us to 603. Thank you, Gladys, for being our volunteer for this morning.